Good evening. It's Wednesday, August 31st. Amazing, the last day of August. Just 4 months left to go in 2022. And welcome to Everyday Talk 24/7. So great to have you here. We're going to continue looking at Psalm 139, but I want to spend a little more time on what we talked about last night. About who are you? And last night we connected that's to the particular plan and purpose of God, as Psalm 139 so eloquently lays out. But today I want to delve more into that because it's an amazing thing. None of us are random. We're not happenstance. There's a particular plan and purpose of God for each of us. God calls into being, into existence, the billions and billions and billions of stars and galaxies. He also calls into purpose and being and existence to the billions of humans that are on planet Earth. That's kind of mind-blowing. But it gets even more detailed than that. In the psalm we read this: "You made all the delicate inner parts of my body and knit me together in my mother's womb." And this is the passage we're going to be focusing on tonight. You made all of the delicate inner parts of my body and knit me together in my mother's womb. Part of my body includes what's up here, my brain. The brain itself is composed of millions of parts. And they function in a particular way. But each brain is different. Each person is different. That's why on the thumbnail tonight, I have a thumbprint. Because the thumbprint identifies each of us as being unique. You can identify people by this thumbprint. Nobody else has this. This is not unusual for God. You know, all the snowflakes that we see, they haven't found one yet that's identical to the next one. We are not random. Each of our brains are composed in a certain way, designed by God, knit together by God, to make us wonderfully complex, as the psalm says. And that includes all of the things that we call difficulties or defects or problems. God's not absent in any of that. We can't fathom it at the moment. But God says he does all these things to bring honor to his name. You see, I hope that you're kind of where I am right now, where your mind is just exploding with the beautiful power of God, the fact that none of this is random. Just as our thumbnails are distinct, our brains are just, our thumbprints are distinct. So are our brains. There's nothing random here. You may look at yourself and say, well, I'm pretty messed up, or I've got this deficiency, or God knew that. And in his economy, in his world, he's got a way for us to flourish. See, the fact that we mess all these things up, that's not God messing it up. We do a pretty good job of that as humans. Not appreciating, not valuing. Not understanding the amazing uniqueness that each of us have. And rather, we've bought into things that essentially say that we're random. Well, you're this category, you're that category. You're smart, you're not. That's not what God does. This passage says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. We're wonderfully complex. God's workmanship is marvelous. See, in his plan and purpose, each one of us is not a random chance occurrence. We just happen to get the wrong roll of the dice or the good roll of the dice. No, the reality is that God made us each for a particular purpose that he had in mind. And our job as husbands, wives, parents, people who work with other people, find the uniqueness that's there and have the courage to bring that out. Well, that doesn't work with the way we do school, the way we do these other things. And all. That would take a lot of time, Jay, because we have to get to know people. Isn't that the beauty of what it is to get to know someone? How many times have you run across somebody that say, well, I don't want to talk to that person. And then God works a series of events around where you actually get to know that person and you wind up, wow, this person is pretty special. They're pretty cool. I was so wrong. If we can start with this premise that we're not random, but we're designed by God, and my identity is connected to the way God made me. And there's nothing more distinct and unique about us than our brains. And God designed that, particularly, so we could call it wonderfully complex. So we could be faithful image bearers of God. Not conforming to the standards of people in this world, standardized testing and the categories we put people into. But if we could take that deep breath and see that God has uniquely designed each of us. You've made all the delicate inner parts of my body, but there's no more delicate inner parts than what goes on up here. Got to know that firsthand when Lord gave Ruth brain cancer. And you see how the brain begins to interact differently. We are marvelously made, unique, not random, distinctive as this thumbprint, distinctive as this brain that God designed. May we have the courage to work with each other, to work with our children, to work with the people that we love, and value the marvelous, complex creation that God has made. And not live like we're so random, where I just have to put up with this person. But may God open our minds, open our hearts, open the eyes of our hearts, to treat each one as a valuable image bearer of God. And may we be complete, will be completed as we come to know Christ. But we have that beautiful imagery of being made in the image of God. And he designed us to be wonderfully complex. Not random, but wonderfully complex. Let's have the courage to find out about that complexity and not just put people in categories. Even our children, even our husbands and wives. But value them for the particular individual that God has made them to be, that special individual. There's no one else like them on the planet. Psalm 139 says so. And that's the thought for this night. Again, I love your comments, your feedback, and I'm just blown away by the wonder of God's plan and design. Thanks so much for being here. Check us out everydaytalks247.com. If you haven't subscribed, turn on post notifications. Videos will come right to you. Thank you for your support of what's going on here. And Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow. We'll continue looking at Psalm 139. You're not random. You're part of the marvelous, unique plan of God. Have a great evening.